Welcome to Brojo Builds, and as promised, we are here with the Snot Rocket Chevette, and we're just gonna go over through some details of the car and what makes it the Snot Rocket Chevette. And we'll go into some details, and let's start off with what we're at right now, right? The engine. So this engine is actually a quick backup motor that I threw together fairly quickly at the end of last year, because the previous motor I thought was hurt, and I came to find out that the motor was actually hurt after pulling it apart. So I just threw the short block together and went to test out the nitro system for the first time, and I had excellent results. So I can't tell you what the motor has run on nitrous, because again, I do plan on doing no time racing, and by doing, telling everybody what the car runs is kind of defeating the purpose. But on motor, when the car was bracket raced, the car ran as quick as 1040s with the previous combination. This motor should make comparable power to that motor was making. And this motor, it's a 350 factory block that's been punched 60 over, so it comes out to 360 cubic inches. Factory crank, cast crank, factory rods, but these are LT1 rods on this motor, late model LT1 rods, and it has Federal Mogul 4i forged pistons, flat top, and I have a set of Promax 200 heads as a solid cam that I won't tell you the specs of. It's kind of a cam that has worked very well on a few different combinations for me, and I've gotten decent results with it. The intake manifold is a fully ported Victor Jr. I had a Holly intake manifold on there, strip dominator, and the motor actually liked that intake manifold better, but I was having a sealing issue because of the intake manifold, so I switched to this Junior. It fits my issues, and other than that, that's what this motor is. It's really nothing crazy, nothing super special, but it does make good steam. And for those of you that are afraid to spin a smaller Chevy up in the RPMs, especially one with stock stuff, I'll let you know. When this car was manual, yes, I used to have a 5-speed in this. I used to shift at 7,400 RPMs with another motor I had that had cast crank, cast rods, pistons, no, not even ARP rod bolts. And that motor brought the car into the high 10s with nothing but factory stuff in the bottom end. So, and going through the traps, I think as high as 7,600 with 456 gears. So, yeah. I'm not afraid to RPM these motors. I haven't sent a rod to the block yet. I have broken some pistons and stuff like that. But, that's neither here nor there. So my goal this coming year is to go as fast as I can with a pretty much, you could say, a stock bottom end. It has forged pistons, but they're forged 4-barrel pistons that are legal for stock eliminator racing. So it's technically a stock bottom end. So we'll see how much nitrous I could actually fit in this motor and have it survive. With the amount I have pushed in so far, it has sneezed at it, it laughed at it, and the car has moved really, really quickly. So if you can imagine, the car's been 1040s and on motor, and a fairly small side nitrous, and on the heavy on the progressive, the car has been very quick. So that's the engine. The transmission, as I mentioned, is a Power Glide. I do have a trans brake. The current converter, which is probably going to be there for probably the first half of the season, it's a 5,000 stall, so it's fairly on the loose side, but the car itself is fairly light. With me in it, the car weighs 2540. So I'm about 180 pounds, so you do the math. The car it's pretty light, but it's all metal. Right now I don't have the hood on it because I'm switching to this glorious scoop we have right here. So I'm either going to modify the hood or we're going to get another hood, and if we could find it, and cut a much nicer hole, because the other hole is a little bit wide. It might look a little funky, but the whole purpose with this build is, and this channel in general, is to build things on the cheap and do things on a low. So again, on motor, we could talk 1040s is fairly impressive for a naturally aspirated vehicle that is pump gas that you could drive on the street and doesn't have anything exotic on it. So these heads, I didn't even import these heads yet. I say yet because I may move on to another motor, and I might open the heads up on this and use it in a different combination later on. But we'll get there in the future. For the front suspension, we have literally stock stuff. Just a shock and a spring to in a chain to tie the front end down, as keeps the front end from overextending and getting too much travel to the back. Right now I actually have it set up in the loosest setting, and again, as I start to add power to it and especially get heavy on the nitrous, I'll that's how I'll do my adjustments for now, until you could spring the money for some nice adjustable shocks. But right now, just using stock shocks and chains and a factory spring in the front. Now that I have it here in my view, headers. I'm using headers from a 1928 to 1932 Ford street rod with a small block Chevy in it, obviously. And the headers, I remember when I was looking for headers to try to put inside this body, I was like, man, what can I make fit here that, you don't want to run shorties because, you lose a scavenging effect, and you're trying to make as much power and carry that power. So, long story short, I went and I was able to find these headers for a street rod. These are 1 3/4 and going to a 3-inch primary, and they were perfect. And it really didn't take much to get them in there. I had to do a little heat, a little banging around on the body, but for the most part, it fit the factory rails. The firewall is notched on the car, but it still has the factory firewall. So it's notched to clear the cylinder heads, but that's about it. This is the factory placement of what the engine should be at. So quick in the business side of the vehicle. We're going to be doing some recording soon, and I'm going to be at my cousin's shop. He has a fabrication shop where we're going to update the cage. So this cage is only good for 10 O's, and I don't know what else in the eighth will equate to in the eighth. I think 640s in the eighth. Anyway, well, this cage is not good enough for that. And it's chromoly already, but we're going to put the main hoop and build a 10-point cage and get us more safe, to be safer inside the vehicle, but that's always important. I have 3 kids. I need to make sure I come home to them. There's a nitrous bottle, nothing, just a bottle. We'll be moving it to a nicer place. Shifter, this is my trans brake button, and everything else is pretty much factory. I won't be putting another seat in the car. Technically last year, this car had a full interior in it. I had a full back seat, and I had a passenger seat. But I started bracket racing the car, and I just wanted, I don't know, get a little bit of weight out of the car and make the car look more racy, I guess. And I kind of regret it. I'm going to put a carpet back in it and make it look, more of a street car. Put another seat, and I'll actually want to, not drive this car like it'd be like every once in a while take the car on the street and just lope around and cruise around. The pedal assembly is kind of funky in here. I'll probably make another video so you can see how the brakes are run, because I'm changing that over. The brake master cylinder is mounted under the floor pan, kind of like you have on a street rod. I'm moving the master cylinder back to the firewall, and it makes it better for line lock and other, like when you're doing for a racing setup, it's just better to have it in the firewall, my opinion. So I'm going to be doing that while I'm at my cousin's shop as well. In the back here, we have a 26 by 8.5 tire. I had actually bigger tires at one point, and we might actually go to a bigger tire after I make some modifications. But it's only a Mickey Thompson bracket radial, pro bracket radial. Works awesome. I love this tire. As soon as I switched to this tire, I saw an increase in my 60-foot times, and I mean, I really like this tire. I'm a fan, and I mean, on the nitrous, I get, look at this. I've given away a little bit more of than I want to give away, I guess. But this car has 60-footed in the low 1.3s. With this tire and a slapper bar and a homemade leaf spring setup. So let me see. It's probably a little dark in there, but in the back we have a GM 8.5 with with the stuff in your typical.
Lie! You lie! You lying! Liar! Lies! The filthy earth boy lies!
Build, and it has 390 gears in the back. So very simple. Nothing crazy, nothing amazing, but just a well put together combination, and generally never gives me any issues. Even the motor prior, I had it in for 2 years, and that motor had a 350. It was a 357, and nothing crazy. And again, the car went as quick as 1040s. It was a great bracket car, ultra consistent, and it was a good racer. So hopefully we plan for this year to continue the same, go a lot faster than the car has been, and continue to just have fun. The whole point of having a project, especially a project like this one, is to have fun. Right? You go to the track, we beat it up, or even you don't go racing. You go cruising in the street or whatnot, you goose it or whatever. It's just built to have fun. And I have plenty of fun with this car. When I got married, this is the car that me and my wife drove off in back in 2016. I mean, we have had good memories with this car. It's probably going to be around for the rest of my life type deal. And but it's that's what you want, something that you can share with your family, or even for your personal enjoyment. I mean, this is this has been a fun project. It's been fast. Like I said, the car has been very fast, and I only plan to go faster with it. I'm trying to try to get over 1,000 subscribers this year. That's my goal, and you guys can help me with this goal, you know. So this is Bro Joe Builds with the Snot Rocket Chevette. Please like, share, and subscribe. It helps me immensely. Please do that. And this is the Snot Rocket Chevette. I hope you enjoyed it. And we're going to go into more details on each aspect a little bit later on, especially as we start working on this project and getting her going. And with the last thing before we leave, when I race this car, I have a special friend that races with me. And I don't have a name for him yet, but he goes every trip with me, and I think he has fun. So that being said, take care, guys. Be blessed.